walk I put in my room, John.
Yeah.
It is lovely.
The desk joint.
Salute to everybody. Good
Yeah,
afternoon.
salute, salute, salute. Key, what up though?
What's going on, Hemp? What's going on,
Everything.
panel? How y'all doing
You
today?
doing the right
Beautiful
thing.
Monday. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff that was conversed. First antidote. Fantastic. How many antidotes does a person have to do with, like, say, a person that deal with police a lot of times? How many times do they antidote counts? Like, if they encounter police more than one time, how many times do they need it for that counter to count?
He said it counts, but they're going to have a bias because they're unaccountable.
That's why I don't understand that part. So the person, so I thought you said criminal. So if we, but so a black person, if I'm not a criminal, but I had intuition with the police, my stuff don't count because I'm just black.
No, I'm saying that most black people, be they have an encounter or they don't, have the same thing from speak from a criminal mindset and approach the process from a biased thing as to why are you dealing with me or whatnot, what have you in the first place, right? So even if you have a not bad situation, people I've heard people and had conversations with people, well, you got pulled over and what happened? Yeah, man. Oh, racist ass cop pulled me over, bro. La la la. Well, were you speeding? Yeah, I was just going five over. Okay, so you were speeding. Five over ain't so you were speeding, right? Yeah, okay. Okay, well, whatever, nigga. Yeah. And then, motherfucker cracker go ask me for my license, registration shit, and la la la. And so he's going and doing his job. So Key, I've had several conversations with several black people that doesn't even understand the process and procedure of the police doing its job because you broke the law or you broke something and gave him a reason to have an interaction with you.
Okay, so that the way you said it right there, that's very few people I heard that's just literally off the basis of that. They normally do the say what happens during that police interactions, that the police pull their guns out, that they pull them out the vehicle, search their car without all that. Those are things that they actually say why the police are racist or anything like that. They don't just say because they pulled me over. It's the intentions of after what's during that happens during the police interactions that would say the police is that did that. So, like I said, I just wanted to answer the question. What's the for the person, that black person that's not the criminal, and the black person that has to add the intention, like have police interactions? What? How many times do they stuff called like actually has matter or mean something? When does that happen? Like when does that kick in?
You can say it. You can say it once. Either way it go, be it once or 10 times. I mean, we got a certain person in YouTube that brag about being locked up either 13 or 30 times or something. So I mean, I don't know.
It's not bragging. No, I'm talking about if I'm saying, hey, I've only been arrested one time, but never did
Okay.
any criminal stuff. But I had over 25 police interactions, and a
Okay.
lot of them came out on the worst on a not on a civilian end side.
Well,
Cause
well, a
I'm
lot.
part.
Hold on,
I think you
hold
can go
on.
with.
So now I gotta ask you, right?
Mhm.
And I'm glad you. So let's say, is this hypothetical or this
No,
or
this is
this
a
is true?
no. This is not hypothetical. No hypotheticals
Okay,
here.
so this is true. All right, cool, cool,
Mhm.
cool. So you said 25 interactions.
At least over 25 out of my adulthood from being
Okay,
18. I'm 36 now. Turn
okay.
37 next month.
So half your life, I got you. So
Mhm.
50% of your life, you've had, let's say 30. You want to say 30?
You can say
Let's say
reaching around
30.
there.
30 interactions. 30 interactions with police, but you
Hmm.
only been arrested once.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, okay, so we go count the once as
Hmm.
them being racist or them being whatever.
No,
So
I never said they was racist on the point of where I got pulled over when I get arrested me for what they arrested me for. I wouldn't say they was racist for what they arrested me for. What
so
they
would you
arrested me
count that
for.
as a bad experience?
Now I don't count that one as a bad experience. I didn't say
Oh,
all of them
okay,
was a bad
cool, cool. All right,
experience.
well, hold on. Okay, cool. Okay, okay. So
Mm-hmm.
30 times, the
Mm-hmm.
one time you did get arrested wasn't a bad experience. So now what you're gonna tell me is there are 15 more times out of the 30, the majority versus the minority to where you were wrongfully treated.
Yes. When you say, look, that's why I said civilian. Listen to what I'm saying. Getting pulled out the vehicle when I haven't been with no cause of it. I hate when you do this. Like since you didn't get killed by a police officer, you had no bad interactions.
You
That's
didn't
not that's
either.
not being just being killed is not just being a bad interaction. It's more things of bad interactions with police officers than just being killed. That's what I'm
You got
saying.
beat up. You first
First I said falsely pulling out my car. You don't get put. You don't go to put out your car. Guns drawn
So
on
hold
me.
on. Okay, and this is you by yourself, not you in a group of people.
Some with people and some by myself.
Okay,
It's not, like I said, it happened numerous of times. Fantastic. So it's nothing brand new. Something came out of nowhere. And I don't give the whole scary thing. I'm 5'9", a buck 40, if that. So
okay.
I'm
So
giving
so you're
nervous
saying
shit.
so you're saying, and every time that you were pulled out of the car, it was unjustified. No,
Yes,
absolutely.
guns are drawn. Yes, very yes.
Again, I mean, I guess I gotta put my fucking 6'5" trick bag on, brother. I just find that very, very hard to believe
So
that you,
so
you
since you're
had this
saying,
happen multiple times. Listen, hear me out now. Hear me out.
go ahead. I'm gonna let you
So
talk.
so you're saying, for one, it the majority of the times we said, and we not counting the time you was actually locked up. You said that was a good experience. So we don't say good. We'll say
That's a good
neutral. We'll say
experience. I
okay.
mean, ain't a good experience,
We'll
but
just say
to the point
neutral.
of,
Okay.
huh?
So the time you were actually locked up
Mm-hmm.
was not bad. It was neutral. Out of
It was
30 times, so we
it
saying
was a
you had 16 more times to where the police either yanked you out of your car or did something, brother. It's just hard to believe, man. It's just and
So
it's
let's clear this up. Fantastic. Let's say the first time we talk about, yeah, I mean, when I got arrested, I had a warrant for my arrest for a old ticket. So they pulled my record, said the warrant for my arrest, got me in. That's what it is. You feel me? I don't say that was I don't say they was racist for that. They just saw a record and pulled me over. Boom.
uh-huh.
After they pulled me over, but they pulled me over. You know how that went. Now the other times it was no, they just pulled me over. A lot of times with the guns drawn. First of all, guns drawn before a car turned off. Get out the car. Hands out the window. Hold on. I don't have no. They don't know no weapons around. They don't know me. You
Could,
don't know my name when you put my I had no
could
record.
could I ask for a
All you
quick piece of
doing?
context
No,
right here?
Go ahead.
you gotta say good morning around here.
So I thought I did it in my super chat. My bad. Good morning,
It
everybody.
was
How
a
y'all
beautiful
doing? I
super
hope.
chat. I really appreciate it. It lifted my spirits. However,
Yeah, I apologize.
now also my Reaper, as you can see, for once in his life, has great decorum. He hasn't spoken yet either. Now, given this decorum that I've never seen from him, I would assume that he will allow you to hurdle him to get your thoughts off.
Yeah, and I didn't want to get any thoughts off. I just wanted to ask him for quick context for everybody, so
Go
as we
ahead.
continue to listen to what he's saying.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
When in this particular situation, when you got pulled over, was your car tinted at all, or is it just plain Jane?
I had all my cars had rims on it or no tint. I only had one car that had heavy tint. All my other cars had no heavy tint, but all my cars had rims on it and probably some speakers. But I always had nice cars. So yeah,
Okay, so this one no tint.
no tint.
Okay.
Okay, I was only
So
asking because typically, that is a reason that cops are typically come guns ablazing sometimes. But go ahead.
yeah, but even more so. So what was the what did it, even they yanked you out of the car with guns drawn?
Mm-hmm.
What was the reason that they said they did to stop? What was the reason that you were given?
Always your tail light is stupid stuff. Oh, I'm pulling you over. I'm pulling you over for minor things. I'm telling you get out the car. I don't say. They don't give me license registration.
I'm
I'm
not
telling
gonna
you,
say
I'm
you
from LA.
lying, bro.
Compton
I'm
Sheriff, Torrance Police,
and
Manhattan
you
Police. What
did
else?
you and hold on, just to be
Bev-
sure, just to be sure, you had no warrants, you had
no
no.
warrants. No warrants. I have no
Yeah,
criminal
man.
record.
Again, I'm not gonna discount your shit and say that you're making things up, brother. I'll just say you were one of the few that somehow, some way, brother, you got the bad end of the stick.
So
Me personally, I find it very, very hard to believe that 16 out of fucking 30 times, and then the same cops that
let me
took
tell you.
you.
Hey,
Hold on, just real quick. Let me finish,
go ahead.
right? Let me finish just real quick.
Let
Just
you
let me
talk.
finish real quick,
Let you talk. Go
right?
ahead.
So you had a warrant for your arrest, and the cops did you perfect, right? We won't say perfect, but they didn't do you dirty, right?
What you mean?
Every time after that, no
Not after
warrant.
that. See, fantastic. Not after that. Stop. That's not after that. All this time happened between. So my time got arrested. I got arrested again. Not arrested, but pulled over plenty of times after that. So it's not just arrest. Literally, you get pulled over. You get these police out here in California, LA. You don't get, hey, can I get license and registration? You get out the car, then they go ask for your license and registration. It's pulling you out the vehicle
So
first.
so hold on. So now you kind of killing your argument if it's standard procedure with everybody.
That's not no. That's not a procedure for everybody. Procedure for my skin, yes. That's not a procedure for everybody.
So
That's
so
not a
you
procedure
telling
for
me that
everybody.
they don't do it to Pedro and Juan and them?
Very few, and I'm gonna tell you why too.
Oh, very
Let me tell
few.
you why. Let me
Oh,
tell
now
you why
very
too,
few.
as well.
Your story
Let me tell
getting
you
more
why too.
shaky and more shaky, brother.
Nope.
You're getting Parkinson's on here, brother.
Check. If you look at what's the most police officers in the Los Angeles
Shout
County
out
sheriffs and the PD, they're Mexican, Latino. They're Latino. So if you understand what goes on, and on top of that, they found out that a lot of police officers in our departments have their own gangs inside. It's been proven, and it's been a lot of them.
They did the same thing with niggas. They found out a whole bunch of niggas was vice lords and fucking GDs in certain police departments.
No,
What are you
I'm
talking about?
their own police. We're talking about what I deal with. I don't know what everybody else deals with. What I'm talking about and what I deal with in my county and my area. So that's why we have more Latinos police officers than white.
Okay, so let's do this, right? So your assessment would be for the 30 times that you were pulled over, even though you said the time you was arrested wasn't a negative time, that
I'm saying that wasn't a bad arrest. So I wouldn't say that.
As I said, negative. I said it wasn't
that
negative. We just saying it neutral. I didn't say good.
Mm-hmm.
I said it wasn't negative. Again, I'm speaking purposely, and everything I'm saying is you niggas love trying to trip me up. That's why I say what I say, and I mean what I say. Okay, so you're saying the majority of your police interactions have been negative.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, out of 30, not counting the one where you were arrested.
Mm-hmm.
You had gun drawn on you for the majority of your majority of your stops.
Not majority of my stops, but a good amount of the stops. Majority of them were with police with guns drawn.
So out of the 16, not counting the one you were arrested, where you had a warrant, but they didn't pull their guns.
Mm-hmm.
So that means 9 out of the next 16 that you had, guns drawn. Get out the car, nigga.
I have more, not 16. I don't know where you're getting 16, 19. I don't know where you're getting
half. That's more than half of 30. So this is what I'm talking. This is why I asked
majority of my pulling over was police pulling me over with guns. I can't give you the exact number, but the majority of the time
not touching their guns, but guns drawn.
Gun drawn.
At your head. Get out the way.
Get out your vehicle. Hands out. Get your hands out the vehicle.
Hey man, it's unfortunate, brother. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad you're still here.
I'm blessed, very much so. But when you say this stuff, though, fantastic. When you say that people like, you're almost kind of pretty much saying, "Oh, I don't believe you." I don't have nothing to lie about. First of all, this is something I never had to lie about. It's not a motherfucking badge of honor. It's not a badge of honor being arrested. It's not a badge of honor of having police pull guns on you. I had one time. I pulled up in front of my house. They pulled it right from my mother outside waiting for me. My mother's seeing it. She's crying. Why you call? Exactly, brother. I can call my mother. She literally said that. And I can show you another time. I can show many times I have people I can call with no problem with this incident. Another issue when I had two of my fellas inside was in Long Beach. We got followed around the two corners they were following us.
So just real quick, I ain't trying to be funny. You said fellas or felons?
No, fellas. To my bros. And I'm the only one that's been arrested out of my friend group. Nobody never had no interactions. All of mine went to school, college kind of guys, real cool dudes. We got followed like 2 or 3 blocks around Long Beach. Luckily, my godmother that lives in that area I went to pull up to her house. Went in her house. They waited outside until she came outside to talk to them, to tell them that we was okay to pull up here. They waited in front of her house. So I'm telling you, what I deal with police officers, it's not cool. And last thing I'm gonna say this, and I think we already talked about this. My brother's father's a police officer, so I don't have a negative bias against the police officers in the whole totality, because I know that's the job they choose and what you do. But I'm talking about the ones that I have dealt with have done things that I would say have not warranted me to have for sure pulling a gun out on me or anything like that in that emphasis. That's what I would say.
Okay. Yeah, so it's interesting, man. I'm assessing the chat key.
Go ahead. I can't see the chat, so go ahead.
100%. I'm gonna give you just 2 cents. They saying a lot of what you're saying is bullshit.
How would I do that? I need a phone call. I can call people.
Here's an interesting thing though. It's 500 people in the chat, and most of them like something ain't right.
Like
so
I said,
they saying that
go ahead. My bad, Pat. My bad. I'm cutting you off. My bad. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, so they just saying like, yo, like we've been pulled over, we've been stopped, we've been accosted, we've been to prison, and niggas is like, something ain't quite clicking with 30 stops, get out the car with the hammer on you and all that.
Now,
That shit sound
first of all, I said
crazy.
I didn't say 30 stops. First of all, can we stop playing around? Never said 30 stops.
I thought you said 30 interactions.
You literally
I think you
did.
said 30,
I
bro.
didn't say 30
You
stops.
did.
You said
No,
30
I
interactions.
I had 30 police interactions. I said over half of them was with police drawn. I never said all 30 was...
Yeah, we're saying interactions.
Yeah,
Stop.
respectfully, bro. We did the numbers from that, bro. Interaction stop time and so on. For we not trying to catch you up, brother. We just simply did it. That's why I went down the line of questions I went down.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Hamp, can I say this, Hamp? Yes. Now, guess what? All you niggas in the chat, just like me, y'all a coon like me. Everybody got them tricked.
Hey, listen. If one of these niggas don't send Miss Fantastic a simp for cop super chat, because he sound like the super niggas right now, right? Not me. I don't experience this with the cops. They be ready to kill a nigga when it come to girls, but you doing the same thing y'all say we do. Now I don't go through this. I'm the black man. I don't got to deal with this. I love cops.
I told you I got pulled over. What you talking about?
I'm saying your experiences are good. Most of your experiences are good. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they are. Why would I lie? Why would I lie about the other thing? If I had a bro,
no, I'm not saying you lying. I'm saying
hold on, not you, not the no.
We not. Also, they say I've been pulled over 30 times and it's been good either.
No, I tried to slide in there.
The dark skinned delegation, y'all niggas is not jumping back in, man.
And like I said,
3, not 30.
Hold on.
Pause.
So I don't, I understand the chat saying whatever they say, but if I have people that literally I can that was there at these incidents that happened. That's not bullshit. And I'm talking about people that if live in LA, in the LA area, if you understand, especially at that point in time, police was pulling us over on nonstop. I could have numerous of times.
Not P, I'm just saying, they just saying, yo, he did that shit. Like that's what they saying. So I'm gonna let you get back in.
What though? But fantastic. I mean, and to that point, did what? I have never been in jail for no criminal things. Did what for you to pull up for your guns to be drawn? What
I don't know. That's the interesting part. That they had the hammer on you 15 times. That's a lot, bro.
And nigga, you made it unscathed, nigga. I hope you played the lottery.
I come quick. Hands up. I don't play around, and that's nothing. Our parents do teach us about hands up and all that stuff. Don't reach for nothing. They teach us that. So when y'all say that they don't teach us, they teach that completely. No. That's why I came out of the way.
Yeah, it just the assessment is less about you and more about the conversation we're having, and then most of the chat is like, "Get the fuck out of here." That's the most interesting part.
But when I say it,
no, that's what I'm pointing out.
Yeah,
it's not so.
Yeah,
it's not about you telling the truth or not. No, it's about their assessment of what you're saying. That's the interesting part.
I tend to find myself more on Fantastic side of when it comes to the police interactions. I'm somebody who's had, I think, a decent amount of police interactions because I done made a lot of poor decisions before, in terms of like riding with suspended license, riding with my car not registered, not having updated stickers. I done did all that, right? And I done had a decent amount of police interactions in my life. And I can say that when I was doing wrong, they treated me like I was doing wrong. Like I remember one time I had got pulled over for, I think, I'm pretty positive because I was watching them before they even was watching me. I'm pretty positive it was for my stickers being old. And I had tried to kind of like, I seen them bust a U-turn. As soon as I drove past them, I'm like, God damn. Right. So I had tried to kind of like speed off a little bit and kind of make a turn and all that. But they had pulled me over. And as soon as he got to my car, came in, took my keys out the ignition, told me to get out. I already knew what time it was. They was looking for a gun. They're like, yo, I know you got a gun inside somewhere in here. I know you do. So we're gonna find it. I didn't, so they didn't find nothing, but they ended up towing my car and all that type of stuff. And literally right before they pulled me over, I had I had just got some Mary Jane. I had just bought like a bunch of it, threw it out the window right before they actually got me, and they didn't see it. But I was doing wrong. I was out of pocket. I was doing wrong. I knew what I was doing. And every time that I've ever, been treated that way, I was doing wrong. But I'm not saying that this is everybody's experience. Like we all can meet bad police officers. That's just my experience. And a lot of times it's the black officers been my worst experience. But I think it's because they see me and they think they know me. And they probably to some degree knew what I was doing to some degree. But when they're familiar with you, they think like, nigga, I don't care what you can tell these white people whatever you want to tell these white people. I know who you are and I know what you're doing. That's kind of how they think. So my experience with the black officers have always been the worst. But when my stuff has been together, I've had nothing but great experiences with officers. Even they pull me over. They ask you how got a firearm. I'll tell them, yeah. I'll give them my license and all that. They bring, they take it, bring it back to the car, all that type of stuff. I've only had great interactions, and the reason that I sometimes find it difficult to fully believe what some of my people say about their interactions is because a lot of the people that I grew up around tend to not put out the energy I think that they should in order to have a good interaction with a police officer. I tell people all the time, like, no matter what time he on, you chill out, you be respectful, you stay calm, you do what you're supposed to do. And a lot of times, and I'm not saying that we don't have the right to argue with an officer if you want to, you can, right? But it's typically going to yield inconvenient results at minimum, right? At minimum, I think an officer is going to do his best to inconvenience you if he peeped that your energy is like, is not respectful. Like the last time I got pulled over a couple weeks ago, I got a ticket, but he only gave me one ticket because he said I could have gave you more, but I'm only gonna give you this one ticket. You've been respectful to me and all that type of stuff, so I'm gonna just give you this light ticket or whatever. Cool. But I would just urge, like, I know when we having situations like when we having interactions with police and stuff like that, a lot of times these are people find it hard to realize when they're the problem in general.
You think
I
most
think
of the
we
time?
find it hard to realize, like, even when in a friendship, in a relationship, in general, we find it hard to realize we're the problem. Now, if I'm talking to somebody and I can tell, like, oh, this is an objective person. This person, yeah.
Point of clarification. You think most people hold themselves accountable in these interactions, or you think they blame somebody else? The jig.
I think most people in general will find a reason to blame somebody for what they're going through,
including the police officer in this particular conversation,
including the police officer. I think they're normal people too.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like the people who are being accosted or stopped by the police officer. You think they saying, why did this happen to me? This shouldn't have happened to me. I wasn't doing nothing, or what I was doing wasn't egregious enough to be stopped for it. Like, how do you think people surmise those situations when they interact with police mostly?
Yeah, I think people tend to immediately make an assumption that something is because of their skin color, and a lot of times that could play a part, right? Mm-hmm. Before, I'll give you an example, right? I knew these girls who didn't get let into a club before, right? Immediately, their first thing was to say it's because we black. That's the reason that we didn't get inside of the club. Now, as a problem solver myself, I think, okay, what else did you cross off to figure out if that's the only thing left, right? Like if my phone charger doesn't work, I'm gonna check the wall outlet, right? I'm gonna check the cord. I'm gonna check the connection into my phone. I'm gonna check the box, right? I'm gonna figure out exactly what is the point of failure for this phone charger reason, right? Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of times we tend to not do that analysis, and we tend to just say, this is the answer right here. I'm black. It's the reason that you did this. And I think that's one of the reasons that people find it a little bit more difficult to just take people's word for certain things.
Okay, because they always make a conclusion without really doing the due diligence.
Without doing analysis.
Okay, so all right, so how do we look at this then, right? So we listen to people's different anecdotal experience, right, which is the qualitative, right? We quantify a lot of this stuff with numbers, statistics. So what do we take as fact? What do we take? Do we take Mont saying, yo, I got what I deserve in these particular instances? Do we take Key saying, yo, I got 30 interactions, I wasn't doing shit, and they pulled the hammer on me in 15 out of the 30 even, right? They escalated it to that extent, right? Like, what do we take as fact based on the statistics. One thing that jumped out to me, Shaw, you could talk your shit, was I asked Mr. Fantastic, are they being over policed? He said no, they're being policed effectively based on where the crime is, right? And if the crime is where black people are, by proxy of that, wouldn't that make black people more criminal? Because they're only going where they're going, their presence is where the criminals are. Like when I was kind of listening to that point, but maybe
I thought you were done. My bad.
Well, I'm kind of done, but I'm just thinking through it just to kind of bring all this back. Like, how do we come to an educated guess?
Right. So, and I'm glad you asked that particular question. Like, what do we do? All of our information are data points. What Munt just described as a data point, what Key talked about in his 25 interaction are a data point, what Miss Fantastic talked about his experience a data point, mine's a data point, yours a data point. The concern is that people who are now getting this new curiosity about numbers are people who aren't actually trained in the science behind what we do as laymen's, right? We take the percentages to make them facts. Science, just like medicine, is moving. It's a living thing. So how Miss Fantastic said, well, this particular Harvard professor proved ABC. There will be another Harvard professor 2 years from now that with different data sets, also their own implicit biases, whatever the limitations are of their methodology, will prove another point. Which is why I'm saying, particularly when I'm talking to my people, be slow to come to these conclusions and these causations. That's not the way data works. Now, what we can do, and which is what we do often, that's why I don't completely throw away what Mr. Fantastic does. We present these numbers and we have conversation around these numbers. We try to get under the hood to see why. But that we often mix that with causation. The number is this because black men are criminals. The number is this because black women are whores. What I'm trying to explain to y'all is historically the same thing has been done to create policies that negatively impacted your people. People took data. I talked about the culture of poverty that was written by Oscar Lewis in the 60s. Politicians took his information that was good science saying in poverty, we love to point fingers at poor people, but there's a culture that is being created that can only be lessened if we destroy it completely. Because people born in that environment will maintain their culture. The same way we talk about people who come from wealthy families, maintain their culture. There's a perseverance of that culture. But what people did was people misrepresented the information to create policy. So all I'm saying is there's limitations in statistics. There's also limitations in anecdotes. But all those things come together to help us try to figure out what's happening in society. And we need to understand when we're having conversations, there are limitations to it. That's all I'm trying to make sure people understand.
So let me hold on, Mr. For your rebut, right? Just hold on. I'm trying to. So let's do that. Right now, there's another thing: qualified opinion, anecdotally speaking, right? So now, Key said he never been knocked for that shit, right? Being stopped that many times, right? So now I make an assessment of what he's saying. It sounds far-fetched to me, right? Having been knocked a few different times, you see? Having been pulled over a few different times, have been subject and ingrained in the system from the penitentiary to court, to picking a jury, the whole 9 yards, right? To dealing with the interaction, the police, the prosecutor, all that stuff, you see? And so when he's saying they keep pulling him over, right? It doesn't make sense to me based on my anecdotal experience that 30 times he was innocent. Right. And I'm leveraging my anecdotal experience while listening to that, and my anecdotal experience is greater than his. You see? Right. And so now what do we do with that? Go ahead. Well, I'm saying, like, how do we measure that? You see what I'm saying? So again, right. So if we're trying to create like a statistical vehicle, right, to figure this out. What I'm also understand is you have an implicit bias. Right? Because of your experience, it's hard for you to believe what Keith went through. Because your 30 interactions went differently. You got jammed. See what I mean? But it's not. But what makes it biased, though? Right? It would be. That's the hard thing we understand. It's subconscious. No human walking on earth is without bias. Miss Fantastic just like literally gave us his bias. He said, I don't listen to niggas in regards to police interaction. That's a bias.
So imagine him creating a study to answer a question, knowing in his mind he don't even trust niggas and their anecdotal experiences with cops. We all struggle with that. That's why science tries its best to create mechanisms to lessen the impact of that bias. But bias isn't any statistical information you've ever read. Bias because humans are biased.
100%, right? So here's what happens, right? If everybody's biased, right, then bias can't be an elimination factor. Right?
It's not. That's not what I said. It's a limitation. It's not elimination.
But I know it's an elimination.
If it's bias across the board, it counts the same for every. It's weighted the same.
So that's the thing.
You can't tell me.
Hold on, Mr. So I know you're saying it's not an elimination, right? But it's like, well, HAMP, of course you're saying that based on your experience, right? What I'm saying is I'm stepping back, looking at the experiences, right? Because I don't feel no way about this shit. And I'm saying, 30 times when we know what Mont was mentioning, right? What's the thing they got? I don't know if y'all got them shits. They got the shits where they know when gunshots is going off now. You got CCTV.
Shot spotter,
right? They can hit your license plate. You heard? Where has that car been? What has it? There's so much shit out here to where the Jake ain't guessing like they used to. So I'm not just saying, nah, he bugging. I'm saying, 30 times, somebody dirty in some way, shape, or form if they continue to hit on that particular vehicle, car, whatever the case is.
Mm-hmm. So I got you. So what we do is to control for the variety, let's find 10,000 people with 30 police interactions. Then that makes the data point more significant. That's what I'm saying. There are ways to do this to get closer to what we consider truth. But you and him going back and forth ain't enough information other than us for talking about it on a panel. But we're trying to do data. We'll say the control is you have to have had 30 interactions with cops to be a part of this study.
But take this walk with me, right? Because what we're discussing is the qualified opinion, right? So we can't get 10,000 people up here right now, right? So if we start talking about data assessment and things of that nature, I would likely leverage that based on qualified opinion and education to you. Because you literally do it for a living and they pay you to do it, you see? So now when we're assessing this, who has the most qualified opinion based on police interactions, the system entirely, right? Because we can't get 10,000 people. So now he talking that shit, right? But if you have any real interaction, you out there, like what Mont's saying, it'd be little shit that niggas be doing. You can't even have the tree in window. That's illegal, right? But niggas be like, oh, I just had a light out. Well, motherfucker, you had a light out too, right? That part gotta matter. They can take you out the car for having a light out. You heard? Because now you cannot drive with a broken taillight. You cannot drive with the tree in the window. You can't do those things. Just because we never been arrested for it or stopped for it don't mean they can't stop you. You see?
I agree.
So
niggas don't know the law.
No, Key, you don't gotta defend it. It's because it's less about you, right? So this part, right? Because I'm trying to walk this down with Shab, right?
I got you. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm saying like we got it. Qualified opinions have to be matter in these conversations because we can't get 10,000 people to converse.
And furthermore, just add in some common sense.
You could go, bro. You could go. I was just trying to finish that point, Key, but you can jump in.
I got you. Go ahead.
Well, hold on. I was trying to say something to what Shad said before he goes. So hold on. I fucking forgot. Let me just say this. So first off, what's the likelihood of a person that's had 30 fucking interactions with the cops, 30 plus interactions with the cops to be positive in the first place? Well, you're already tainting the water. What would we say? We say there's a minority of the people that had 30 interactions with the fucking police going to be positive or negative. It's going to be fucking negative.
We got to slow down. That HAMP asked that specific question, and I gave a possibility of how we could start to create a methodology to answer the question about the qualified opinion to get a better to kind of zoom out.
I'm understanding that. Now I'm asking you with those variables and with those controls, right? The control of 10,000 people with 30 interactions, more likely than not, a hypothesis or an educated guess, whichever one you want to call it, which would you lean to more people are going to have? Negative or positive?
I would say, based off my experience, I would say positive, but that's not the question HAMP asked. He's asking whose opinion more qualified. You asking a different question.
Okay, cool. But either way, it was the other thing. I'm trying to remember what the fuck you said earlier, man. And
was it about the study and the Harvard professor?
Or the bias
saying that science is
was it the bias thing?
Oh.
No, the bias thing, that was another part of it too, but I forgot what the fuck it was.
And let me just clarify, right? Because people, it's a lot to follow, right? I'm not saying what's deserved, what should happen.
Right.
I'm saying
Right.
what they're able to do based on you breaking the law. You see, they're able to do a whole bunch of things, right? Because reasonable and articulable suspicion is all they need for so many things, and you give them that by not following the laws of the road, right? It's just that simple, right? They hit you with one thing so they could try to say you got weed on you, you got a gun on you, like what Mont said. That's what happens. They use little things to leverage to get access for bigger things and bigger opportunities. That's just what be happening. Go ahead, Key.